Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee, hosting the first of 3 semifinal events in our 2025 PFL World Tournament. Yesterday at the weigh-ins, our semifinalists all made weight, all came in ready, prepared, healthy. 4 fighters tonight will advance to a championship opportunity in the World Tournament here in 2025.
That silverback pound the chest is fake, disrespectful. You put somebody out, you don't need to be all over them in their face, taunting and doing all that stuff, because there's gonna come a day when it's the table turn.
Jason Jackson, victorious in the main event. He's out, he's out.
It's straight confidence, and I know what I'm gonna do. It's the Silverback Nation. We're gonna take over everything.
He's overlooking all my accomplishment, and guess why? He's so overconfident.
You can see why there is so much hype.
I don't care who you are, what your name is, what your record is. When you're in a cage with that Gene, the Silverback, I'm going to put you out.
Oh, that Gene finishes with an uppercut. Just nasty ground and pound.
I knock people out with a higher undefeated record than you.
Jackson, another takedown on Lima. Jackson's dream of reality.
Thank you, Jason Jackson. But like I said, you're gonna hand me the torch. I will hand you your flowers, and we'll be on our way.
There's a look at our smart cage. The stage is set for semifinal action at Nashville Municipal Auditorium. Semifinals in the World Tournament. Sean O'Connell, Randy Couture, Dan Hardy. It's been a great tournament so far, and now we are in the semifinals. The pressure, if it's possible, in a one-shot scenario, has ramped up, Randy.
Absolutely, some amazing matchups in 2 amazing weight classes. You don't want to blink with these guys, especially these lightweights. They are so fast. Oh my gosh.
You got the 45ers, you got the 170s. Dan, you know a thing or two about the welterweight division. Some incredible matchups, and even guys who didn't advance into the semifinals. I mean, on the early card tonight, we've got some great welterweights.
Oh, we are spoiled for choice when it comes to welterweights. As we know, it's a very, very deep division, but Thad Gene, Jason Jackson, Logan Storley, Kukuri, they've risen to the top. They're the ones that are still in the championship, in the tournament play. They're the ones that can still get that belt around their waist. The other guys, of course, they're just hoping someone falls out.
All right, we'll talk about all of it here on the PFL World Tournament pre-fight show. Look at the rewind. We take a look at the numbers that do not lie. 32 fights, 22 finishes. 12 of those have come by knockout or TKO, 10 by submission. It's a high percentage finish rate. And we've had some quick ones. We've also had some last-second finishes as well, so a little bit of everything. The fan vote, by the way, gave us this as their favorite fight of the first round. Gaji Rabadanov with the knockout over Mark Jacasey. And Gaji Rabadanov, he's last year's PFL champion, right? And he's really somehow found a new gear in finishing fights, not just winning, but finishing fights. He did that in the first round. Let's take a look back at how we got to tonight. Logan Storley, the 4-time All-American at the University of Minnesota, 6-time high school state wrestling champion. He had a last-second opponent replacement against Luciano, a highly skilled grappler, and, well, what did he do? Randy, he used that wrestling.
He sure did. Division I, 101 right there. Take him down, tie up a wrist, float over him, make him miserable, smother him like a wet blanket. Nobody does that better than Logan Storley.
The former Bellator champion looking to get another gold belt wrapped around his waist in the tournament this year. Masayuki Kikuiri versus Giannis Bouchard. Both of these guys looking to make a name for themselves for the first time in the PFL Smart Cage, and Kikuiri emerged victorious, Dan.
Yeah, it was all to play for in this one. A very evenly matched fight. Bouchard came out and was trying to wrestle early, but Kikuiri, he was able to utilize his judo to keep this fight moving, keep the fight scrambling, and then ultimately was able to land the shots that forced Bouchard to retire on his stool. And of course, he moves forward to face Logan Storley this evening.
Thad Gene facing the toughest test of his career, an absolute nightmare of a matchup with Mohamed Barkamov, and well, you saw the highlight reel knockout.
Absolutely, this guy's got great hooks, very, very good power in his hands, super athletic. He's long, he's rangy, his conditioning is on point, and you've seen him come all the way through the Challenger Series to where he's at now in the semifinals in the World Tournament.
Thad Gene still undefeated, and how about this? 2 former Bellator World Champions squaring off in the PFL Smart Cage. Jason Jackson against Andrei Koreshkov, and he really imposed his will in this fight, Dan.
I love to see this type of ground and pound. Of course, we know how good Jason Jackson's all-round MMA game is, but he talks about how he's wrestling for MMA. He's leagues above, and we saw that in this fight. You could see him on Koreshkov, not so attached to any particular position, was able to move around him and flow, but landed really significant strikes.
So we take a look at the bracket as it stands right now. Main event tonight is that Jackson-Gene matchup. Logan Storley, Masayuki Kikuiri. Winners advance to the finals in August. That's your welterweight bracket. 170 pounds is a big reason why our finish rate is what it is. Welterweights have been big-time finishers, maybe our best weight class even traditionally in the PFL. We've always had some really good 170-pounders. But also 145, the featherweights have really given us a treat. And I tell you what, we're going to get to them here in just a moment. Jackson versus Gene in the main event, all right? Undefeated, rising prospect, as Randy said, who came through our own system, right? The Challenger Series, now into the World Tournament, passed a huge tough test in the first round, but he's taking on a guy in Jason Jackson who is more experienced, a little bit older, a little bit more seasoned. Randy, as long as I'm talking about older and more seasoned.
You're going to talk to me. I know you're going to turn to me right now, aren't you?
Jason Jackson brings that former world champion experience into a fight like this. What kind of pressure is he facing, because he is the favorite here?
I don't think he's facing any pressure. I believe he feels like he has a skill set and everything he needs as the veteran to get this done. He thinks that's where all the chatter has been coming from. He doesn't have a skill set to beat me. That's why he's talking so much. He may be right. Maybe it's psychological and he's gotten under Jason Jackson's skin and irritated him, make him thinking about all that other stuff except how to beat Thad Gene. That's kind of how that works. It's going to be really interesting to see them settle it. You can't deny that Thad Gene has got power in both those hands. You can't deny that Jason Jackson has beaten 5 world champions before. He's got a ton of experience. Was the welterweight champion of the world himself. So that makes for an amazing matchup. Are we going to see a changing of the guard here with Thad Gene stepping up and into that position? Or are we going to see the veteran come through and do exactly what he needs to do to win?
Rising talent has been a bit of a theme in the World Tournament so far. We'll see if it continues tonight. For more on Thad Gene, it's the pre-show. We've got everybody in the building. Kennedy Smith has more on Thad Gene.
Sean, you had it exactly right. Thad Gene is a rising star, and he said it himself, he wants to be the next face of the PFL. Now, a win here tonight would be a huge step in the right direction, but first, let's take a little look back at where it all began for him at the 2023 Challenger Series.
Hello, this is Thad.
Good.
How are you today?
Good. Just calling to welcome you to the 2023 Challenger Series.
I'm sorry. Hey, look, you won't regret it. This is awesome. I appreciate that so much. It's going to be a great opportunity, and I will be the superstar of the PFL series.
I'm a dog. I'm not going to just give you a victory. You're going to have to kill me. What I want y'all to see is that I am here for a reason. You see that Gene, the silverback, is a beast.
He's been training and dedicating himself, but so he has the talent. He's very dedicating, he's sacrificing. I knew he had what it takes.
Thad Gene is 4-0. He calls himself the silverback, and right now he's moving like one. He's the favorite in this fight. That's very, very powerful. And finding those shortstops just like that. Drops at the end of round number 1.
Looking back on it, it's just like, wow.
Thad, the silverback, Gene.
You know, it really is a joyful moment for me right now.
As always, fantastic work by PFL Origins. If you want to watch more from them, get some more behind-the-scenes action, go ahead and check out the PFL YouTube channel. I don't know about you guys, but that got me hyped up for this main event tonight, guys. How do you feel about it?
Look, we've been watching Thad Gene since the very beginning, the early stages of his career. Is tonight the night he really emerges as a star? Or is it going to be Jason Jackson saying, wait, young puck, you got a little bit more seasoning to do? All right, co-main event. Let's talk about this. Gabriel Braga, another guy who came through our Challenger Series. He was an undefeated prospect at one time. The thing that took him out of that, well, that was his opponent tonight. This is him in the first round. Gabriel Braga against Fred Dupras. Most of the time, Dan, we see his striking, but he used the grappling to get the win here. And then, of course, you talk about strikers in this division, you have to talk about the former PFL champion, Jesus Pineda.
Both of these guys are such well-rounded mixed martial artists that are still very young, still adding things to their game. I expect better things from both of them, more improvements in their game, new skills. Of course, Pinedo looked fantastic against Borics, but for me, the big adaptation there was him taking his time in those first couple of minutes and forcing Borics to cover a bit of distance. Braga's the one that's got to control his rage in this one, though. He's the one that wants revenge.
So Pinedo Braga in the 3-match in the trilogy fight. Haibulaev, Taekyun Kim on the other side of this bracket. Movlid Haibulaev, like Jesus Pinedo, a former featherweight champion at 145 pounds. All right, Randy, I never fought a trilogy fight. Dan, did you ever fight a trilogy fight? Randy had a couple of them. Chuck, Vitor,
yeah.
Legends versus Legends. But break it down for me. What's it like going in? Not the first time, not the second time, the third time against the same guy.
Yeah, it becomes a big challenge because you know each other so well. You've studied each other for all of these fights going into them. We always say the onus is on the guy that won the first fight. You're going to fight this guy again. You know the guy that lost is going to make some adjustments to get a different outcome. You, as the winner of that, are making a wild guess as to what those adjustments might be. Now you talk to Pinedo and he says, well, nothing's changed. He fights exactly the same as he had every other time. I'm going to beat him just like I did in the second match, wade through him and knock him out. I don't know if it's going to be that easy. We've seen a different Braga. We're seeing Braga come out of the tragedy that he experienced with his father. We're seeing him with that spark, that fire in his eyes again. We saw him using his grappling more than we've seen him. He's an amazing striker. His Muay Thai skills are on point. He's got very heavy hands. But to see him check in with the wrestling and the grappling, that might be the thing that Pineda's not expecting at that adjustment to get that different outcome.
And Braga did relocate training camps for this fight, so there was at least that change, even though Jesus Pinedo says he's been the exact same. Who haven't we brought into the pre-show? Oh, yeah, Jonathan Coachman is also here. Coach, what do you got?
Oh, Sean, boys, good evening. It's kind of the calm before the storm here in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, with all due respect to our great main event later tonight, there's a lot of people that think our co-main event could steal the show. Meeting with both fighters this week, you could feel the anticipation. You could feel the tension. Now, recently on PFL Origins, the show that I absolutely love, we tackled the trilogy, this trilogy, and what it truly, truly means.
He came here and weighed in as an alternate, just in case anything happened.
Aceitei uma luta em menos de 24 horas.
This is a very interesting prospect at 145 pounds. First time we've had a Peruvian in the PFL regular season, Jesus Pinedo.
I'm not sure Braga's taken a backward step this entire fight.
Yeah, it's crazy. Ooh, nice combination by Pinedo. Really bringing the heat here.
Gabriel Braga.
Fue una pelea muy buena, no muy intensa. Dieron la pelea de la noche, pero siento que gané esa pelea. Los jueces no estuvieron bien al darle a él la pelea, pero así es, cosas que pasan, ¿no? En el deporte ahora.
Esta pelea en verdad no va a llegar a decisión, estoy totalmente seguro de eso.
Gabriel Braga, he has yet to taste defeat in his pro mixed martial arts career.
Yeah, on my way to the top.
He walks out angry, he talks angry, he fights angry.
Braga bleeding from both nostrils. Nice work by Pinedo, and there's a hook.
The power of Braga is not affecting Pinedo.
Nasty left hand, and a switch knee. Pinedo flirting, and it's waved off. first Peruvian champion in the major world of mixed martial arts. Jesus Pinedo and Gabriel Bryan will face off once again.
And now these two have two completely different personalities, but make no mistake about it, they are ready tonight. Check out their tweets on social media going back and forth. And I'm telling you right now, Jesus Pinedo said, Coach, I'm telling you, this one is not gonna last long. First round, it's done. And I'm telling you, this one could be the best of the three. Now, being on a main card means you have a lot of responsibilities, and this week, no different. Get all these fighters a ton of credit. Physicals, interviews, weight cuts, all with a smile most of the time. In Nashville, they've been an amazing host. The Titans even showed up this week, and they're gonna show up tonight. Now, we want our fights at PFL to be completely interactive. How good of a judge do you think you are? Well, download the QR code, and later tonight, you can vote the verdict on all of the semifinal fights. See how close you get to the real judges who will be sitting tonight cage side. Now it's time to make a little cash. It's time to lock it in with my main man, Ian Parker, who's on remote tonight and looking very dapper tonight, my good sir. Now, I am so tired of getting tweets, getting texts about Parker's parlay. We're gonna start right there. Where are we headed tonight?
Coach, always good to see you. Let's start off with a three-leg Parker's parlay to kick the night off. We're going to start with Joseph Luciano, minus 260, coming off the loss to Logan Storley, but we saw the durability, we saw the toughness. Now he gets to be the favorite. He's going to lead the way with the grappling. Moving on to the guy that beat him, Logan Storley, is going to show every bit of that minus 1,000. And last but not least, give me the master of violence, the king of chaos. I'm giving him nicknames for days. Jesus Pinedo at plus 107 for the three-leg Parker's parlay. Let's go.
But I'm thinking in my head, let's get nuts. I want to get nuts. Maybe a long shot parlay. You got something for me?
Always do, Coach. When you say let's get nuts, I went nuts, and we have to for the next round of the playoffs, the semifinals. Let's do it. Logan Storley to win at plus 700 by submission. He's going to have every opportunity with that dominant ground game, and I know he wants to set the standard by getting the finish. Pinedo, we know what he does it best. You're giving me plus 460 by knockout. I'll take it. Last but not least, if Thad Gene's going to get this done, it's going to be with the power in his hands, like Randy said, by KO or TKO at plus 18,200. Coach, we talk long shot, that is a long shot.
That'd be a nice ticket to cash. Now, there's some people that don't like to bet parlay, so let's go straight bets tonight. Give me the betting rundown for you, Ian.
Who are those people? I want to know who they are, but we do have something for everybody in the betting game. Let's start off with Jeremy Kennedy as the underdog over Adam Boric. I'm a little surprised here. Kennedy looked fantastic against Habulaev. A lot of people thought he won, and Boric is coming off a knockout loss a couple of months ago. I think Kennedy gets it done. Umalatov is like a minus 3,000. He's got a lot to show. He wants to get back into that top 5 of the welterweight division, under 1.5 rounds at minus 145. Logan Storley inside the distance at plus 150. He is known as a decision guy, but he will have a huge opportunity to make a statement, to dominate in wrestling and get the finish. And I believe he will do so. He's done it before. I know he wants to make a statement, and he can absolutely do it there. And Coach, last but not least, give me Mobin Habulaev to win by TKO, KO, or decision. And I believe that's how he gets it done. And those are your bets for the night.
All right, very good. Ian will be here throughout the evening and also on social media, so follow him there. Now, when you talk about Logan Storley, he's okay with the fact that he's not getting really any of the attention this week. He said, I don't care. I just want to come in and get the job done. And when you sit down with him, as I did in Coach's conversations, you realize this guy's coming into tonight with extreme, extreme confidence. Logan Storley, welcome back, man. Last time we talked was in April. You had such an incredible win. Watching you against Luciano, you would never have known that you had to flip the script last minute because your original opponent missed weight. Was that a difficult thing to do?
At the end of the day, you're always going to go out there and do what you do, right? But Luciano was a lot better than people gave him credit for. He's a big, strong kid, and we kind of knew that. We didn't see a ton of tape, right, or train for him, but we went and watched a few fights, and this kid's a lot better than people are giving him credit for. And so we knew we had to go out there and stick to the game plan.
there are so many fighters at different levels. You've also realized it was interim, but you still held a strap over it in Bellator, so you were able to perform at the highest level when the lights were the brightest. Do you think that experience will help you this week?
Yeah, I think those fights against the best guys, that experience, 5-rounders against Gracie, that was 25 minutes all on the feet. Then MVP, another title fight with Amasov. So I've been in there against the best of the best for 5 rounds, 3 rounds, seen a lot of different things from different type of guys, So
let's talk about your opponent this week and what challenges do you think he poses for you?
Yeah, Kikikiri is a very well-rounded fighter, good striker, switches stance as well. He gets up off the cage well, but I have to go out there and I have to implement my game plan, get to my positions, and really set a high pace. Just stay in his face the whole time. Pressure, pressure, pressure.
There was no surprises this week for Logan Storley. His opponent showed up. They both showed up on weight, and they were very stoic. I think both guys understand that with a victory tonight, they'll have one more major task in August, but both guys are physically very, very good and in shape. Time now for the PFL Roundtable. Bring the guys back in. Sean, Dan, and Randy. And Sean, I want to start with you on this one. 21 out of 32 finishes in our first round in Orlando. It was an amazing 4 weeks. What was the biggest, surprise for you coming out of Orlando?
Look, Thad Jean's fighting in the main event tonight. We knew that the last time we saw Thad Jean, it was the toughest test of his mixed martial arts career. I mean, Muhammad Berkamov is an absolute monster. He had just come off a win over the former welterweight champion. Not once, but twice Ray Cooper took home the welterweight belt in the PFL, and Berkamov beat him last time out. And the fact that Thad Jean not only won that fight, but finished that fight and finished that fight early, that was a surprise. High hopes for Thad Jean. We always had him. But to do that against that guy, that was a surprise.
Hey, Randy, let me come over to you on our main event tonight, Thad Jean and Jason Jackson. You've been in so many main events in your career. Jason Jackson has, Thad Jean has not. How do you think the experience will help Jason Jackson tonight?
I think that experience is going to pay off for Jason Jackson. He's been in these high-level fights. He's faced guys multiple times. He knows what that looks like when everything is on the line. And in this tournament, you got one shot. He's going to bring his A game. I don't think he's let Thad Jean get under his skin. I think the rhetoric has been psychological warfare. I don't think any of it's legitimate, that they really don't like each other. I think they're trying to pick at each other and make them think about anything but how to beat that other guy.
The whole thing seems to be about confidence. Both of them are trying to show each other how confident they are, right? But Jason Jackson, he knows his confidence comes from experience. It comes from time spent in the cage. Thad Jean, it's coming from the results that he's having. And there's no reason why he shouldn't be confident. But one of those guys is going to have their confidence undermined tonight because someone is not going to be successful. And that's really what makes this so fascinating. Two people with absolute belief in themselves. One of them's going to fail. One moves on.
No doubt about it. Sean, let me come back to you. Recently, Paul Hughes, he headlined a PFL Europe. You and Dan, you were there. What's the atmosphere like when one of the biggest rising stars, not only in MMA, but certainly for us, is in the building?
Well, look, especially when he was in his hometown in Belfast, you can't see under the suit. The goosebumps are standing up. I mean, the song, the walkout song, Grace, performed live. And then to go out under all that pressure and to perform like this, I wish I was better at trying to convey and describing what that moment was like. Absolute bedlam, completely insane. Paul Hughes is a star no matter where he fights, but especially when he fought in Belfast at home.
It was amazing. You've got thousands and thousands of fans that showed up there. They followed his career through to the Cage Warriors title. They saw him sign with the PFL, make his Bellator debut, and then obviously have those amazing performances against AJ McKee and against Nurmagomedov. These people all want to be on the hype train. They were there all week ready for Paul Hughes to do something spectacular. But nobody, including Paul Hughes, expected a 42-second knockout like that. Bruno Miranda's an incredibly tough and dangerous individual. He can take a shot very well. But Paul Hughes was just silky smooth on that night. And as he said himself, nobody on that night would have beaten him in that arena, and I absolutely believe him.
And by the way, check out the Dan Hardy breakdown of what made Paul Hughes so dangerous in that fight. He basically predicted in the breakdown exactly how Paul Hughes was going to get done, catching the kick, landing the knee. And you know what? I think he earned his rematch with Usman Nurmagomedov. That's what the people want to see. That's what Randy wants to see. That's what Dan wants to see. That's the fight you got to make.
And it's interesting, Sean, that you say see, because fans in the United States, they want to see the fights in PFL Europe and Africa and Australia. And guess what? They now can, because recently we just announced the brand new PFL app, free live fights in the United States from all over the world in a full library on demand. It's going to be a new world for PFL fans. Now, this year so far, the PFL World Tournament has been widely received, and the fighters, they absolutely love it. But now it's time to take that next step forward. It's time for the PFL World Tournament to continue, and to continue right now. The 2025 PFL World Tournament rolls on after an exciting first round that featured 11 knockouts, 10 submissions, totaling a 66% finish rate. Now we kick off semifinals month with the welterweights and featherweights, all with one shot to make it to the finals. Starting in the featherweight bracket, former PFL champion Mobley Killer Habulayev aims to remain unbeaten in a showdown against South Korea's Taehyung Kim, whose power and submission skills were on full display with a vicious rear naked finish in the first round. Our co-main event of the evening is a trilogy that has all the makings for Fight of the Year. Brazil's Gabriel Braga faces 2024 PFL champion Jesus Pinedo in a rubber match loaded with tension and bad blood. With both men holding a win over the other, this one is very personal. Throwing a ticket to the finals? Oh man, you better get your popcorn ready. And in one half of the welterweight semifinal, American powerhouse Logan Storley looks to ride the momentum of a dominant wrestling display into a clash with Japan's Masayuki Kikiyuri, a fresh face to the PFL who's already turning heads after his first fight dominance forced an early surrender. Tonight is headlined by a clash of the Caribbeans. Jamaica's sensation Jason, the ass-kicking machine Jackson, sets his sights on another impressive finish, this time against the silverback, Thad Gene, the power-punching young PFL star who's known for making brutal introductions with his fists. We are set for an epic month of semifinal action, all leading up to the PFL World Championships. It's the PFL World Tournament semifinals, and it starts now. And do not forget, later tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the big show. It is ESPN. We've got 4 semifinal fights. There's going to be winners that move on to August, our incredible main event, our great co-main event, the trilogy. But don't forget me and the entire crew for the post-fight show as soon as the fights are done on ESPN+. And, of course, our PFL MMA YouTube page. We are ready to go. The hype is real, the vibes are real, and I cannot wait. The 9-fight card starts on ESPN+. Settle in, enjoy. Thank you so much. It's the PFL World Tournament right now. Let's go.
Wichita, the semifinals of the PFL World Tournament continue Friday, June 20th.
Wow!
2024 PFL World Champion Gadzhi Ramadanov takes on the Motown phenom Kevin Lee in his PFL debut. Plus, former women's flyweight world champion Liz Carmouche steps into the cage versus undefeated submission specialist Elora Donna. Don't miss your chance to see the action live June 20th at Intrust Bank Arena in Wichita. Tickets are available now on selectaseat.com.
July 19th is PFL's historic arrival in Africa. PFL Cape Town, the middleweight champion.
Johnny Edlin pouring on the pressure, and he's out!
Against the towering finisher.
Oh,
and the new face of MMA, Dakota Ditcheva.
Dakota silences the doubter!
Plus, the launch of the PFL's 3rd regional league, PFL Africa.
I am the king of Africa.
This is PFL Cape Town.
Legendary, this is legacy.
The PFL brings you the biggest fights with the biggest stars. And now, the official PFL app is here. Stream live fights from all of PFL's international leagues.
Oh my goodness!
Plus, fighter access and news from around the world of PFL.
First round finish!
The PFL app, available now on your mobile device. Everything PFL in the palm of your hand.
Legacy. The PFL World Tournament semifinals.
64 started.
32 remain.
Oh my goodness!
Always been the one that got him power win, still got a little blood lost every now and then.
One win away from a world title fight.
World title fight. World title fight.
Win,
Win or go home.
Unbelievable!
one shot.
One shot.
Victorious!
One shot.